FIM CEV Repsol Championships are the proving ground for upcoming talent in motorcycle racing. Every Grand Prix world champion for the last 10 years has passed through this paddock, and this is the final weekend of the season where the championships will be decided in all three classes. The European Talent Cup is first up on track around the Ricardo Tormo Circuit, and with a field full of identical machinery, this really does prioritise riding talent above all else. If you can win in the European Talent Cup, you've already proven your ability at a very high level. We always talk about how the stars of tomorrow are seen in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, but nowadays the stars of the future are really found here in the European Talent Cup. In 2017, Manuel Gonzalez was the inaugural HETC champion. He's already a world champion at the Supersport 300 level. The following year, it was Xavi Artigas that went on to win the title. He's already had podiums in Moto3 at World Championship level. Last year, Izan Guevara was the champion, and he could well become a junior world champion this weekend. With 2 races remaining, will it be David Alonso or Zonta van der Gerberg that wins this championship? The European Talent Cup is up for grabs this weekend, and last time out, we were able to see Zonta van der Gerberg win all 3 races.
Thanks, Steve. Kiko Giles joining Steve English here today. And yes, last time out, Aragon across all 3 classes, it was a duel to remember. Zonta van der Gerberg and Alvaro Carpe going head-to-head in the first race. And despite all the crashes and the smashes and the drama all around, it was Zonta who held on to take victory. Again, his second of the season. In the second outing, there was more drama and there was more battles. The championship fight going down between the Aspar team and the Dutch rider. But eventually, the youngster was able to pull away. It was 2 from 2 for van der Gerberg. Would he make it a magical hat-trick in race 3? Well, it was a big battle and he had to fight the hard way, but it wasn't all easy until the last lap. He got that edge on the opposition to win.
So today in the European Talent Cup, we've got the championship to be decided this weekend. David Alonso holds a significant 28-point advantage over Zonta van der Gerberg, but as we saw there, van der Gerberg with the form, Kiko, and certainly for Alonso, he's got a bit of an uphill task after what happened in qualifying yesterday. A disaster in qualifying yesterday, Steve, and funnily enough, actually, Zonta van der Gerberg, the big beneficiary. There was a penalty for David Alonso. He was originally planning to start in 3rd place. He's down to 15th, which is a huge blow for his championship. And the one beneficiary, Zonta van der Gerberg, up from 4th on the grid. He takes that 3rd place. Yeah, the whole season really has been about those 2 riders. Alonso won the first 4 races of the year. Zonta van der Gerberg has won the last 4 races. We come to this weekend, 2 races here in Valencia, 1 today and 1 tomorrow. And it really is a real title decider. I mentioned about some of the riders we've seen come through the ETC over the last few years, and this really could be another season to remember for these riders. Exactly, and you know, like you said in the intro, Steve, this is a real proving ground, and there's no better place to learn how to race in combat, to race in tight situations than the ETC. And these riders are all at such a young age, they're all looking to build on their experience. And quite honestly, it should be quite exciting. Our pole sitter is Marcus Ruda, and we're going to get the opportunity to hear from him.
The first for this now. I'm very happy ready for tomorrow.
Plenty of reasons for Marcus to be happy with what he was able to do yesterday. He's taken pole by just under a quarter of a second, and last year he came in as a rookie into the European Talent Cup, Kiko, made an immediate impact with podiums in the early rounds as well. Yeah, I think he was podium in Estoril, and he came all the way from the 5th row of the grid to do it. This is his first front row of the year and of his career. And I mean, what a place to join the front row. He's on pole and he's got a clear view down to turn 1 and the opening few corners, and that's so vital here. Tight and twisty is the Ricardo Tormo Circuit in Valencia. Yeah, you could see there as well. He's been a top 5 runner all the way through the season, but a little bit off the boil last time out in Aragon a few weeks ago. Second on the grid is going to be Roberto Garcia on the number 41 machine. Garcia, 14 years of age, from Seville, and this season he's been able to really build on some of his earlier experience, but this is his first front row start of his career. A real new kind of complexion to the front row. Both of these guys, the first and second, it's a new experience for them, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle that on this first lap, because we say in the just a moment ago, the championship battle is kind of coming from behind them, especially in 3rd place. Yeah, and certainly third place is Zonta van der Gerberg. It should have been David Alonso, but 12th place grid penalty for Alonso for riding slowly during the course of the qualifying session. But that means that this man, Zonta van der Gerberg, is on the front row of the grid. And Zonta, of course, more than just a famous name, he's the foreman in the championship. His dad, Jürgen van der Gerberg, former Grand Prix rider, and certainly for Zonta, those 3 wins last time out, they really have vaulted him into having a bit of a chance now this weekend, but 28 points to make up.
They've brought him back into contention, Steve. Don't forget, of course, David Alonso crashed out in race 1 last time out at Aragon as well, and that really, I think 30 points were taken out of Alonso's lead into van der Gerberg's favour, and this is Valencia, anything can happen. Yeah,
and on to the second row of the grid, and we've got the likes of Ivan Ortola, Marco Tapia, and then David Real as well. And certainly for Ivan Ortola, this is going to be a good opportunity for him to be able to come through. We're actually just going to run further down the field to the number 48 machine, but sorry, it is Ivan on the 48 once again. He's had 4 podiums in the class, as you can see there, but he was a star attraction last year. He actually won here in Valencia as one of his podiums. You can see there 4 podiums through the course of this season as well.
He's still got a mathematical chance of 2nd place in the championship. He can't win it, but he can back up his teammate Alonso should Alonso go on to win it and make it an Aspar 1-2, and that's really important for the team. Of course, great pedigree all the way through into MotoGP classes and beyond.
Yeah, he was a winner last weekend in the Red Bull Rookies Cup in Aragon as well, so he's got plenty of experience. He's actually 2nd in the Red Bull Rookies Cup this season behind Pedro Acosta. Acosta, of course, is running in the Moto2 Junior World Championship. Number 13, it's lucky for some, unlucky for others. It's been pretty lucky for Marco Tapia this weekend so far, though. He's been able to have 5 top 6 finishes through the course of this season, and now as well qualifying inside the top 5 this weekend here in Valencia.
Exactly, 8th in the championship, as the graphic says on your screen there. And, you know, this could be a real opportunity to crack a podium. He hasn't had a podium this season. This is a good time to do it as we come into the end of this year, looking towards what to do for 2021.
Yeah, and certainly his best result of the season was in Portimao. He's going to try and make sure he's able to finish inside the top 5 once again this weekend during the course of the double header. They're going to be joined on the 2nd row of the grid by this man, David Real, as well, on the number 32 machine. And for David, he came into European Talent Cup action. Last time out in Aragon was his debut for the season. He was able to score points in all 3 races, marked himself out as a rider to watch for this weekend. And certainly if he's able to come away with top 10 finishes once again in this race, it really does give him a real chance of using that as a springboard for next season.
It really does give him a real chance, Steve. You know, a couple of top 10s in this kind of class, and you've not raced it all year. It's so hard to come in. Aragon's not the easiest track to learn. It's a very, very difficult technical track. Valencia, it's a little bit easier, but again, David Real looks like he's in good form and in good contention.
Yeah, and here is Julio Garcia from the south of Spain. He had a season best result of 4th in Jerez, and over the course of this season, as you can see, it's been a little bit up and down, but at least Jerez does show that when things are working for him, he's able to get to the front.
When things are working for him, he can show his true potential, but consistency is key, and we've seen across the classes up in the MotoGP Championships and down here in the CEV that, you know, you don't have to score big wins every single race. If you keep hitting your markers, then you are going to be in contention. Look at the Moto2 Championship, for example.
And you can see here one of the Australia Galicia riders, it's Angel Piqueras. He's been able to, as you can see there, finish on the podium already this season in Portimao. He's also been able to qualify on the front row of the grid on a few occasions. It's been a pretty impressive rookie campaign in the European Talent Cup for the 13-year-old. He's from Valencia, so this really is a big weekend for him.
This is his home round, and you know, that 2nd place at Estoril, the 2nd race of the season, he knows what he can do, and you know, this is his home track. He put on a good show. He's not far away. He should know this track pretty well, to be fair.
Yeah, and they're going to be joined inside the top 10 by Alvaro Carpe as well. We saw last time out that he was able to finish on the podium, Kiko, in Aragon. He was able to have a really strong performance for the young 13-year-old. He's from down in Murcia as well, so only a couple of hours up the road on the number 83 machine.
He's looked so good. You know, we've been watching him this year and he's not been at the front, fair enough, but last time it's like he turned a corner. He's starting to really enjoy his riding again. 2nd place, battling with Zonta van der Gerberg. That's a real a quality to have, as we got the number 4 coming down pit lane here. Can't quite see who that is at the moment as we check our lists.
Yeah, it's Pawelek, so clearly an issue for him further down the field on the number 4 machine, and we'll wait and see if he's able to get that bike restarted. He's due to line up 33rd on the grid, so all the way down at the back of the field.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a disadvantage for him if he has to start from pit lane. To be fair, he hasn't really been at the front running pace. This is Harrison Voigt, the Australian 6th in this championship. He's in the battle actually for the top 5 overall. He's only 12 points behind Angel Piquera, Steve.
Yeah, and, for Harrison Voigt, he's been able to have podiums in the Asia Talent Cup at the start of this season in Qatar, and here in the European Talent Cup as well. He's been able to have pretty good results. Jerez and Aragon, the 2 real highlights for him, where he was able to finish on the podium. So for Harrison, he's able to qualify inside the top 10, taking advantage of that penalty for our championship leader David Alonso that pushed him further down the grid. This is Alberto Fernandez, and again, another local rider. He's from Alicante, just about an hour up the road as well. So we've got lots of locals that are able to get themselves in with some good results. You can see at the start of the season, he was able to have some very good results. 4 podiums in the opening 5 races of the year. He's been a top 10 runner pretty much all season, but a little bit off the boil as well this weekend.
Just tailed off a little bit at the end of Jerez, coming into Aragon, and the fact that Aragon, there was 3 races, it's kind of impacted and highlighted the fact that inconsistency at one track is a bit of a downfall, but Fernandez will be back, we're sure, this weekend. He's looking good on the 4th row and can come through.
Yeah, you can see here Daijiro Sacco as well. He's been able to have top 10 finishes in 3 races this year. He's scored points in other races, and the Japanese rider is going to try and make sure he's able to finish the season off strong. Like
Fernandez, a little bit tailing off now towards the end of this season. Not stellar results, but hopefully Valencia, he can pull something out of the bag.
Yeah, Juan Rodriguez also on that 5th row of the grid, and then they will be joined by the championship leader as well, David Alonso, on that number 80 machine. But certainly where we are right now gives all these riders a good opportunity. The final race of the 2020 European Talent Cup has seen the title rivals at different ends of the field. You've got Zonta van der Gerberg on the front row of the grid, but our championship leader David Alonso had a penalty that pushed him down to the 5th row of the grid. Marcus Ruda and Roberto Garcia led the way in the qualifying session, but over the course of the next 17 laps, certainly expect to see the title contenders really come to the fore. Steve English and Kiko Giles bringing you the European Talent Cup, the first race of the weekend here in Valencia. And Kiko, this really could be a cracker. We've got to wait and see what David Alonso was able to do from the number 80 from 15th on the grid.
Absolutely, and it's not just about the championship as well, it's about who can pack out those places in between the rider on the front row, Zonta van der Gerberg. He's 2nd in the championship. He's looking to try and close down Colombian David Alonso, who's leading this championship, but Alonso's got to do it from the 5th row. It's not going to be easy. It's very, very difficult to pass round here at Valencia. Hopefully we all get a clean first sector at least. Looking through the rest of the grid here, you can see all of the riders. It's a big, big grid. We're all the way down. I think we're on row 13 coming up. 37 entrants for this one. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, over the course of the weekend we had 40 riders try and qualify here in the European Talent Cup. A couple of riders ruled out of action. If you're new to the Talent Cups, everyone's got identical machinery, all out there on Honda 250 machinery. They've all got the same tyres. It really does come down to the riders to make the difference. Here in Valencia, this is a track where the rider can make the difference as well, particularly on these small capacity machines. Kiko, take us around and show us some of the key overtaking opportunities.
Turn 1 on the first lap is going to be difficult, but through the rest of the race, turn 1 is a really good opportunity. It's also a great opportunity to build through into this turn. This is turn 2, a dead stop, hairpin, jam it down the inside there, and if you can make a move, you kind of got something sorted for at least turn 3. Turn 4, you can get through. It's not conventional, but it's not unheard of. So turn 4, then turn 5 is pretty difficult. Turn 6, depending on who you're racing with, again, I wouldn't say that's conventional. Then the back straight through 7, the kink of turn 7, turn 8. And then really from there, it is one line all the way around to more or less the final corner, Steve. And we have seen before in the CEV Championships that the final corner can really upset the World Championship. I think it was 2016. Nicolo Buliga just kept his nose clean whilst all his rivals fell around him at that final corner on the final lap, and he took the title. And we could well see some more drama like that today.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of drama in the European Talent Cup at Valencia over the years. And of course, for the Talent Cup, this was set up in 2017. The first champion was Manuel Gonzalez. He's gone on to be a world champion at Supersport 300 level. And then we've got Xavi Artigas and also Izan Guevara going up against one each other for the Junior World Championship in the Moto3 class this weekend as well. This really is an opportunity for the riders to set their stall out for their career, show themselves as riders to be watched as well in the future. That's what makes the Talent Cup so special. That's why this man, the number 84 of Zonta van der Gerberg, has a real chance this weekend. He's on the front row of the grid. He's got ground to make up in the championship. There's no two ways about that. But his main championship rival, David Alonso, is going to start from the 5th row of the grid. And Alonso's had the pace this weekend, Kiko, but now really needs to be able to come to the fore.
He's got to come to the fore. He's got to utilise that pace. We know he is quick, but the problem is, and we've seen this across all the championships this season, if you qualify poorly, you put yourself at risk of other people's incidents and accidents. You don't have to make your own mistake. You can be caught up in someone else's troubles and problems further down the field, especially at a track that, like we've been saying, turns 1 and 2, they do funnel people in. But this is your pole sitter, Marcos Ruda. I think he's nervous. I think we're all nervous for him. Can he convert it, Steve?
Yeah, Marcos Ruda on the number 69 comes on to that pole position. The 15-year-old from Mallorca trying to see if he's going to be able to convert that in the run down in towards Turn 1. Turn 1 always action-packed here in Valencia, so for the likes of Van der Gerberg on the 84, he's going to try and make sure he's able to stay out of trouble. We'll keep an eye on the championship leader, the number 80 as well, of David Alonso. The lights go out. The 69 of Ruda is able to make a good start, but look, it's on to Van der Gerberg, a very fast start from the 84, and our title contender is able to slap into 3rd position. We'll keep an eye through Turn 1 for David Alonso on the number 80 to see how he comes through. The 32 trying to attack down the inside as well, but Van der Gerberg able to hold off that 3rd position.
Ruda able to hold on to the lead. A load of riders going out wide at Turn 1. We've seen that in years gone by. Van der Gerberg, though, keeps his nose clean. He's out of trouble for now. He's in 3rd. Everyone's safely through. A lot of riders out wide. A bit of smoke at the back there. Don't know who that quite was, but out front, Marcos Ruda is leading, and the first 3 on track are the first 3 on the grid.
Yeah, Ortola being under attack there as well for 4th position. The top 3 able to at least get away nice and cleanly and open up a small gap further down the field. Just trying to see what David Alonso was able to do. Our championship leader lost a spot on the opening couple of corners. He's down in 16th. Keep an eye out for the number 80 as everyone comes through these opening couple of corners. You can see most of the field able to act pretty cleanly here in the opening half lap.
And the front 3 are already just starting to get the hammer down a bit. Got a little bit of a gap. We're not quite sure about. I'd say that's about half a second at the moment. Back to Ortola. I think that is in 4th place. But at the moment, Marcos Ruda doing a sterling job holding off Garcia. But I think Garcia was looking on the inside as through comes one of the Leopard bikes.
Yeah, that's Tapia down the inside. Good move from number 13 to get through there as well. Ivan Ortola doing a good job in 4th position. He's on that number 48 machine. He's been able to try and bridge that gap to Zonta van der Gerberg. In the European Talent Cup, it really is going to be a case of trying to make sure you're able to stay in the slipstream to keep this nice and close at the front of the field. But certainly that leading 3 doing a good job here in the opening lap. Still Marcos Ruda leading the way as we come through the final corner. Tight 2nd gear, left-hander for these riders. But you can see there the leading group certainly is able to stay nice and close at this stage.
Absolutely. Full chat down this front straight. No jump starts, we can confirm. So there is no discretions that will go on and on. Roberto Garcia now going up the inside. The number 41 slipping through. And yeah, takes the lead off Ruda there at Turn 1. Nice little move. I think we've got, Alvaro Carpe got a great start. He's up into 6th place, 7th place already as 13 moves through again. So the Leopard bike is absolutely moving through. That's Marco Tapia from the. He got actually a poor start from the middle of the 2nd row.
Yeah, plenty of riders trying to make progress, including our championship leader David Alonso, the number 80. He's at the back of this group, but he's up into 12th position now after the opening lap. So Alonso trying to make some progress. Tapia, you can see there on the 13, making plenty of progress, but Marcos Ruda able to get himself back into the lead of the race. We saw him run a little bit off track there onto the green paint as well. Something for all these riders to keep an eye on. Of course, track limits has been a big talking point in all the championships this year, but especially as well for the European Talent Cup. You can see here Zonta van der Gerberg on the 84 just ghosting down the inside. He knows he really needs to be able to pick up a race win here. He needs to take advantage of David Alonso being further down the field. You can see there the number 80 of Alonso on the Aspar bike. This is our championship leader, comes in here with a really healthy championship lead, but needs to make sure he's able to score big points, get himself to the front of the field during the course of this 17-lap race.
Yeah, and his teammate doing a massive favour then as Ortola goes through. I think he pushed Van der Gerberg out, so did Van der Gerberg hold on to that 4th place? Time will tell, but this is your championship leader, as you say, Steve. He's just got to keep it on 2 wheels, get through these opening couple of laps. They're always the hardest in a motorcycle race, and stay upright, and then chip away and get to the front.
Yeah, see at the front of the field, it is still Marcus Ruud on the 69, but that 48, as you said, Kiko, Izan Ortola able to make some progress. You can see on the run down in towards turn 1 that the 41 of Roberto Garcia trying to get close, but not quite close enough to be able to make that move. It is a case of having to be patient. Someone's ran wide there as well. Was that Marcus Ruud? It looks like it was the race leader, the number 69 of Marcus Ruud, that's run wide. He's dropped down to 5th place. He's going to be under attack now as well from Tapia on the 13, and it looks like one of the Estrella Galicia riders has clashed there as well. That's the number 95 of Marco Morelli, and he's taken out, it could be Daijiro Sacco on the 74. We'll keep an eye at the back of that shot and see who was the other rider involved.
I think Alvaro Carpe is still there, but this is what we're saying. David Alonso is only 1 or 2 places behind him. He was so close to being caught up in all of that through no fault of his own, but he's still upright. David Alonso now in about 8th place, but disaster. Marco Morelli completely wrong. Up the inside, it was David Real who went down in that as well, so a disaster for those two. They'll get another chance tomorrow, Steve. But what happened here? Yeah,
you're going to see the replay and the rundown in towards the left-hander. Very easy for the 95 to run in a bit hot. He's offline. He's just trying to push a bit too hard. He's probably panicked as well there. You can see him just trying to make sure he's able to take that inside line. But 3 abreast into that corner really doesn't go. And you can see for David Real as well, he's now got to try and make sure that he's able to just get himself some information now as well. Obviously, he missed out a lot of races this season. The last time out in Aragon was his season debut. He was able to score points there, but no points for him in this race. You can see at the front of the field, though, it is still Roberto Garcia that's leading the way from the 48 of Izan Ortola. Last season, Ortola was one of the real star attractions in the European Talent Cup, but this season hasn't gone quite according to plan for him. He's still chasing his first win of the year.
He is. His teammate set the fastest lap of the race last time around. We wait to see what they do this time. Don't think he's matched it at the moment, but as we see, that's in the back of shot we just cut away there. I think that was Ruda coming to on Carpe, whilst Ortola is in the lead. So Izan Ortola leads from Garcia, and Van der Gorberg just doing what he needs to do, keeping a watching brief, staying out of trouble. He's there in 3rd, and those 3 have got a gap, but as we've said already, Steve, it's not going to stay like this. We expect these 3 to chop and change and the gaps to start shrinking again. Yeah,
for Van der Gorberg on the number 84, he hasn't really looked like trying to make moves at the early stages of this race. He's just trying to make sure he's able to keep that watching brief, keep himself clean, keep himself out of trouble, and making sure that he's able to always be at the front of the field, because that's the big challenge for... and that's a big moment there for one of the riders coming down in towards turn 5, and Harrison Voigt down there in through turn 5, and you can see just got himself unsettled. Really was an accident waiting to happen for a couple of seconds there for him. Unfortunate for Voigt, because he's still trying to fight it out for all important championship points, but certainly for Harrison, he's been able to finish on the podium already this season, but he's going to have to just try and collect himself for tomorrow's races, where he'll try and go back out there and try and fight it out at the front. But disappointment there for Harrison Voigt.
Yeah, you can just see he's a little bit late on the brakes, has a bit of a bobble, unsettles the bike, and he just has to bail out in the end. He's never going to make that. Oh, the bike takes an absolute flyer, but he's okay. He's just a bit damaged in terms of pride, but he'll get another chance tomorrow. Back at the front, let's see what's going on. Ortola's still leading Garcia, Van der Gorberg there in 3rd. 4th, I think, is still Fernandez. Is he there? Yes. Oh, Tapia. It's Tapia. Is it Tapia? Oh, no.
There, and you can
it's
also
Ruda,
you can also still see David Alonso making his progress. He's up into 6th spot now as well. So our championship leader really is ghosting his way through this group, and that's going to put all the pressure on Zonta van der Gorberg. Of course, he was able to qualify on the front row of the grid after that penalty that we saw for the number 80 of David Alonso. But Alonso coming through now at this stage and really is making good progress. You can see there the 69 of Marcus Ruda able to dive down the inside of Van der Gorberg. Van der Gorberg pushed out wide. That's going to open the door as well for Marco Tapia on the 13 to try and attack. But look at David Alonso behind his championship rival, and it looked like he might have just ran a little bit wide there. Could open the door for one of the other riders trying to attack him. But our 2 championship rivals, Kiko, and certainly for Van der Gorberg, he knows that if he's to have any chance of bringing this to the final round of the year tomorrow, that he needs to beat David Alonso. He needs to beat him, but I think it's by 3 points. The gap is 28 in the championship standing, so he, at the moment, I think, if my maths is correct, Alonso's champion, if we stay like this, because Van der Gorberg is just not taking enough time
out of him. The championship standings right on cue. No, Alonso wouldn't be, but what sector point are we doing? We'll check that later. I think it's at the line.
When Van der Gerber was in third across the line. And that is the 41 of Garcia, and also is it Artola? It looks like it's Ivan Artola. So our two race leaders have crashed out through the hairpin, and now you've got the 13 of Tapia leading the way, and that's going to change an awful lot for the championship permutations now as well, because Van der Gerber now up into second spot. But look at David Alonso still diving down the inside and just wiping the nose there of Zonta Van der Gerber. That's the scrap for third, because you can see Marcus Rueda has been able to make his progress, but action-packed lap there with all these riders changing places.
Alonso's going to have a look at the lead. The Fernandez number 54 is coming through, 4 abreast down into turn 1, but Rueda on the brakes is a demon. He's absolutely looked great in all the braking areas. He's running a little bit wide there though. Will the number 80 of Alonso be able to come through? On the brakes he's not strong enough. Look at Marco Tapia up the inside. Tapia's riding so well. We've not seen this all year. He's not been around all year. This is class. This is a real whetting of the appetite, I think, for 2021. But Marcus Rueda out front, he is looking good, and he looks confident, Steve. He doesn't look like he's nervous. He looks like he's doing a good job. There is Garcia and Ortola. A story of what could have been, I think, Steve.
Yeah, these were our two race leaders. Let's see what happened to them during the course of this crash. Keep an eye at the front of the field, and it was a big high side for Garcia, and unfortunately for Ivan Artola, absolutely nowhere to go for him. And those two riders, they're going to have the opportunity tomorrow to get back in action, but disappointment there, especially for Garcia to have had that big high side.
Oh, who's this down? Is that Fernandez? No, it's the 74 of Sacco. It's the 74 of Sacco, Dajiro Sacco. That's on the exit of turn 8, I think. He's asking for the power there, and he's gone down. But Sacco is off. Leading is Tapia, ahead of Rueda, ahead of Alonso, ahead of Van der Gerber. Then in 5th place, it's Fernandez. 6th place is Carpe. So we've got a 12-wheeler at the front. I was just about to say, Steve, on the floor, we've got the Ortola and Garcia the lap before. That is crucial. Ortola and Garcia the lap before. It's crucial for the championship, because Fernandez now could move back into third. What's happened to Sacco?
Keep an eye on the 74 at the back of this group, a high side, and he ends up actually pushing another rider out wide as well. That was Adrian Cruces that was being pushed out wide there. So for Sacco, he's able to at least walk away from that. But look at this group at the front of the field. Still Marcus Rueda leading the way. Of course, Rueda was our pole setter. He's in front of David Alonso. Alonso's come through from the 5th row of the grid to be able to hit the front. Then it's the 54 of Fernandez, and then further down the inside comes Tapia once again. Tapia's been able to have a pretty good season. He's been consistent. He started the year with a lot of top 5 finishes, but this is as good as we've seen from the number 13. Really able to hit the front, and now putting the pressure on all these riders in that lead group. The number 80 though of David Alonso, he's doing enough right now to be able to win this championship. Van der Gerber hasn't actually looked like being able to make the moves in the early stages of this race, but we've seen from Van der Gerber over the course of the last 2 rounds just how consistent he can be, just how clever he is for being able to make that progress. But at the front of this group, it is still the 69 of Marcus Rueda that's leading the way, and Rueda always finding a way to get to the front as well. And that 69 able to be very aggressive in the break points we've seen so far in this race. He's not afraid of trying to be a little bit aggressive with the other riders around him, and any time he's had to get to the front, he's been able to do that, Kiko.
Looks like he might be on lap money, Steve. He wants to lead across the line each time around. 2nd place is Tapia, but 3rd is Fernandez. Now, apart from the championship battle, which at the moment is going to Alonso, the 3rd place battle in the championship, only 1 point splits them. Ivan Ortola's already on the floor. Alberto Fernandez is in a podium paying position here. He's in 3rd place. But back to Van der Gerber, what you were saying earlier, he can battle. We've seen him battle. He's on the outside of Alonso now. That's not going to work at turn 13. But we've seen him battle at Aragon. Van der Gerber had to fight with Marco Morelli, had to fight with Ortola, with Alonso, and he saw off the opposition there. But the question is, can he do it with multiple bikes, like a 6-man group, 3 abreast? Fernandez hits the front. Tapia's going to go back through. Does he pull it down? I'll be amazed if he does. Asking for the power to 54. Oh, nearly contact now on the run down towards turn 2. Ruda's looking on the inside. 13, Tapia swaps back. Does he pull it down? No, not this time. Fernandez, after all that chopping and changing, holds the lead.
Yeah, Fernandez on the 54, still able to just gut it out there. But look at the 13 of Tapia, still able to attack on the run down in towards turn 4. Turn 4, always an accident hotspot, but he's got the confidence in the front end to really be able to be aggressive. He's only 13 years of age as the number 13, but he's looking like a very experienced head here in the European Talent Cup this weekend. You can see the 69 of Marcus Rueda. He was our pole setter. He's down the inside of David Alonso. And certainly for all these riders, they're going to they're going to sense the blood in the water as well, because they know that Alonso and Zonta van der Gerberg have to think about the championship. They have to think about any incident that's going to happen for them, so they've got to make sure that they're able to manage that race. So for all these other riders, they know that if you're in a 50-50 battle, those other riders really are going to have to cede the position, and that's what means that everyone in this lead group can be very aggressive against the number 80 of our championship leader Alonso, and then the 84 van der Gerberg as well. But Tapia out in front, trying to just make sure he's able to open that gap. You can see Marcus Ruda though on the 69. He can sense that, wants to make sure he's able to attack to then try and close up that gap.
Yeah, and the leader there, Marco Tapia, was actually off the track. It looked like he went into turn 12 a little bit fast. We're at turn 14 now. Tapia's leading Ruda, but these guys, they're not in the championship fight, and that is, as you say, Steve, something they've not got to consider. Whereas Alonso, van der Gerberg, they're both thinking, but there's still 9 laps to go. There's still a long way in this race to go. Anything can happen as Fernandez goes back to the front ahead of Ruda, and then Alonso's come through into 3rd place. 4th place is Tapia. Off the track is Carpe altogether at the back. And van der Gerberg just not making any progress as Tapia slides back through. Tapia is, he's got that thing absolutely sideways every single time into turn 2, and a shake of the head there from the 69. That is Ruda.
Yeah, Tapia on the number 13, coming from 4th position there to try and get down the inside into turn 2. Doing a really good job on the 13 is the Leopard rider. But for David Alonso on the number 80, he's doing a good job to be able to make sure he's consistently able to put himself into that lead group. We're just seeing track limits warnings though for some of our front runners, including Alberto Fernandez, the number 54. We saw him running wide at turn 1, and we also have it for the number 83 of Alvaro Carpe. So both of these riders that we can see on screen, the 54 and the 83, they've been given their first track limits warning, so that's certainly something for us to keep an eye on. That's the 44 of Hugo Milan coming in to retire from this race, so disappointment for him. But let's focus on what we have at the front of the field. Zonta van der Gerberg trying to get down the inside. Good move by Zonta to be able to move into 5th position. That's one of the first times we've seen him be a bit aggressive, try and make a move. You can see him tap the tail unit there as well. He wants to make sure that Carpe stays behind him so that they're able to try and close up on these leading riders as well. We're seeing the lead group start to stretch out a little bit now as well, and certainly for Zonta on the 83, he wants to close up on that.
I think he's seeing that that might just get the better of him as through comes Ruda for the lead ahead of Tapia. So the Marcos and Marco are absolutely going hammer and tongs. Alonso, he's keeping a very, very low profile in this. He is in 3rd. Now he's back to 4th as I say that. Fernandez has come through. But he's not doing anything outlandish. He's doing what he needs to do. He's ahead of Zonta. Tapia goes back to the front. Tapia and Ruda both dueling for the lead. They're absolutely on each other's cases every single lap and corner, but I think Tapia went a little bit wide there, and through comes Alonso into 3rd. And that now, you know, that's one rider between Alonso and it's one rider between van der Gerberg. One's on the podium, one's off it. It's a dynamic that we've got to watch with 8 laps to go. Yeah,
Alonso won the first 4 races of the year. The number 80 we can see there on the Aspar bike. He won the first 4 races of the year. That was really what he's been able to use as his foundation for his championship challenge. Holds a healthy 28-point lead over Zonta van der Gerberg coming into this race. You can see Zonta there on the number 84, the winner of the last 4 races, the 4-man in the championship. But for van der Gerberg, he really needs to be able to win this race to have a chance of bringing this into a final race showdown in the European Talent Cup. But certainly right now, David Alonso on the number 80, he's the rider that's been able to dictate terms right now. And Alonso, he's on course to be able to clinch the European Talent Cup right now as it stands. He's going to move up into 2nd spot there, able to hold that tight line and get through into the right-hander. Good move by him on the inside there, Fernandez as well. But certainly for Alonso, he's the one that looks comfortable out there. For Marcus Ruda, our race leader there on the number 69 machine, Ruda, he's been able to keep a cool head all the way through this race. He's been able to constantly find a way to get himself to the front. But in this leading group, it's the likes of Marcos Tapia that is on that number 13 machine that we're seeing just gradually ease his way through this field, and certainly he's very aggressive on the run down in towards turn 2, especially Kiko. That's where he's going to really try and make his moves. Yeah, and Alonso's trying to make a move here. I think this is going to be for the lead when we come back. Yes, he is. So David Alonso from 15th on the grid with 7 laps to go, leads at turn 1, but I'm not sure it's going to stay like that. Ruda's trying to look back at Tapia, I think, but doesn't get it done. The 54 Fernandez is sideways on into turn 2, but keeps it all together. And Zonta van der Gerberg still in 5th.
maybe he's waiting, but with David Alonso at the front, I wouldn't risk it. We've seen Alonso, he's done what Van der Gorberg's done in the last 4 races, win 4 consecutive races. He did that at the start, and he wants to wrap this title up in style. Just outside the top 6 that you see on screen, we've got Jacob John Ralston in 7th, 8th is Juan Rodriguez, 9th is Philip Ton, and Adrian Cruzes. You saw him go off track in Daijiro Sacco's incident on the exit of turn 8. He completes the top 10.
You can see Alonso on the 80. He's hit the front, but he's going to be under attack now as well. But certainly right now, as it stands, the 84 of Zonta van der Gerberg just doesn't seem to have the answers to try and make some progress. Doesn't seem that he's got the pace to be able to really take the fight to the riders around him. He's reacting, whereas all the other riders really are trying to dictate terms. You can see the likes of the 13 of Marcus Tapia. He's always been very aggressive. He's trying to make sure that he makes his bike as wide as possible on the run into corners, just trying to scare the riders around him, make sure that they give up the high ground to him. And certainly Tapia on that 13 into 3rd spot. He's doing a really good job at this stage. Our race leader, our championship leader, our champion-elect, the number 80 of David Alonso, he's doing nothing right now. That's exactly what he has to do. He's been able to hit the front from the 5th row of the grid. He's done nothing wrong at any stage during this race. He's kept his nose clean. He's kept out of trouble. He's hit the front, but he's going to be under attack from the 54 of Fernandez. We're still plenty of laps left in this race. 6 laps remaining of this 17-lap race. So there's still plenty of time for all of this to change. But David Alonso at the front, he's kept a cool head. He's done a really good job to be able to hit the front, Kiko.
He really has, and you know, that's what you've got to do. Fernandez has looked good. He's right on his case, still in the number 54. But in general, Alonso is doing, he's not an outlandish rider. He's very neat and tidy. He's hitting his markers, hitting his apexes, not looking too out of shape on the exit of corners. I'm not saying anyone else in this leading pack is, but he's doing a good job. He's doing exactly what he needs to do as the team watch on. Aspar himself here looking on, and another champion crowned under the Aspar banner. I mean, how the list is going on. It could actually grow later on today. We'll come to that in Moto3, Steve, but yeah, look at Alonso's style. He just tips it into turn 1. Little bit of bounce there from the seat unit, but absolutely to the white line on the apex. Lovely stuff. Yeah,
David Alonso able to mirror signal maneuver on the run down in towards turn 1, use the slipstream. That's so important in the European Talent Cup. Like all small capacity bikes, it really is crucial to be able to use that slipstream, but especially in the ETC where everything is an identical machine, you've got to be able to make sure that you're able to get yourself tucked in. You've got to make sure that you're able to exit that last corner really well. You've got to make sure you're able to work with the riders around you. You saw, I think, 2 of the riders there tapping their seat units. Good luck with that, because we always see this where riders think, oh, stick with me, we're going to be able to get to the front of this group. In European Talent Cup races, it never works like that. You've got to be aggressive. You can see there the 69 of Marcus Ruda. He's aggressive on the run into that last corner. He doesn't get down the inside. Good riding once again from Marcus. We've seen him able to get to the front of this group on a couple of occasions from the pole, but certainly Marcus looks strong on the 69. He's going to attack on the run down in towards turn 1. He's able to use that slipstream and then just able to bulk the 80 of Alonso. Looks like Alonso's being attacked as well by Fernandez on the run down. Look at Zonta van der Gerberg though. He's able to come through from 4th to hit the front, but now we're 4 abreast on the run down in towards turn 2. Tapia is going to try and get down on the inside on the 13 as well, coming from 5th position. All those riders getting aggressive. You can see there for Aspar, he said everyone's coming from one side to the other. The one rider to keep an eye on that was Marcus Ruda on the 69, because he ran off track at turn 1, and we've already seen a couple of riders, the likes of Fernandez on the 54. He's already been given a track limits warning for turn 1, so certainly something for race direction to keep an eye on, certainly something for us to keep an eye on as well, Kiko, because in the final 4.5 laps we're going to see more of that.
We are going to see more of that, but I don't think Ruda's going to really, he shouldn't be too much troubled by that turn 1 excursion, because he didn't really gain anything. In fact, he probably lost things. So interesting how Zonta van der Gerberg, he was a little bit tentative on the brakes into turn 2 that time around. He looked like he had the lead, then he backed out, and he's still in 5th. Alvaro Carpe doing really well, actually, to tag on the back of this. We haven't really seen this all year from him, apart from in the last round at Aragon, and it just shows what a good result can do. But out front, Fernandez is leading. Number 82nd is the championship leader, the championship elect. It is David Alonso. 3rd is Marco Tapia. 4th is Ruda. Van der Gerberg watching on in 5th, and Carpe completing that top 6 as they come down to turn 14. Oh, is there going to be a lunge? Yes, there is on the outside, though. Tapia couldn't get... Oh, that's tight. Dear me, Ruda and Tapia almost coming together. It was almost a tap on his shoulder there as they come down to cross the line to start the last 4 laps. And elbows out there.
Well, you can see there from the 69 and Zonta van der Gerberg, the elbows coming out, and quite a bit of that actually as well, just to make sure you're able to protect your bars as much as anything else there from Marcus Ruda. So nothing really untoward in that, but certainly in the final 4 laps, you're going to see the elbows come out for a lot of these riders. Tapia, we saw on the run in that last corner, making sure that he was making his bike in the right spot. But Tapia on the 13, he's been able to get down the inside once again into turn 2 there. So Tapia all the way through this race, he's been one of the riders that's been able to yo-yo around, make a lot of moves. David Alonso still continuing to lead though on the number 80 machine. Zonta van der Gerberg though, he's got 3.5 laps to hit the front. The Dutchman knows that he really needs to get himself to the front. Keep an eye here on the 69 and also Zonta van der Gerberg there, just a bit of elbowing as they come across the line. And you can see there for Aspar shaking his head. I'll tell you what, there's no way Aspar didn't do things like that whenever he was racing as well, former world champion. But for these riders at the front of the field, it's his rider, the number 80 of David Alonso, that's at the front of the field. He's the championship leader. He's in a position to be able to wrap up this championship today. But look at Zonta van der Gerberg starting to make some progress on the number 84 machine. He needs to pick these riders off. He go down the inside into the right-hander as well. He's up into 3rd spot. He's been a slow burner in this race, Zonta, but now he's starting to come good.
It's that racecraft that we've spoken about, them last 4 race wins in the last 4 races. We know Zonta van der Gerberg, he hasn't got any problems with pace. We know he can do it. The racecraft is coming though to him now. Will he try and get up the inside of Tapia going into that final corner? He's on the wrong side, and if he's going a long way around, which he tries to, I can't believe that's going to work.
Yeah, you can see there with Ruda as well on the 69, he had to back out of that one. It looked like he actually came pretty close to making a bit of contact with his front wheel. But at the front of the field, we've got our 2 championship leaders. David Alonso out in front, but he's under attack now from Zonta van der Gerberg. Van der Gerberg, of course, winner of the last 4 races, and he hits the front here now for the first time in this 17-lap race. We've got 3 laps to go, and finally, Zonta van der Gerberg has come alive.
The gloves are off here. Alonso's going to try and look back. He knows that's his championship rival. Van der Gerberg sweeping in there. Is he going to get round the outside? He holds it. He is so fast. He's taking high corner speed lines, really. Van der Gerberg now is leading. Now, this would take the championship to tomorrow because the gap at the moment is 28. 5 points off Alonso's lead leaves it with 23. That's the difference between winning and finishing second. The title race goes to tomorrow. That's at the moment. We know it's going to change. Tapia is 3rd. He wants to get his first win of the season. And this is a dynamic, Steve. 1st and 2nd in this race have both won this year. They know what it's like. They've got the experience. And around them, 4 riders who haven't. As Alonso looks back on the inside, will he get it done? He pushes Van der Gerberg out wide, and Alonso's back in the lead. Yeah,
Alonso on the number 80 hits the front once again, trying to make sure he's able to answer back on Van der Gerberg. But the good thing for Zonta is he's been able to attack. But now look at Tapia once again on the run down in towards the hairpin. He's just making sure he's able to put his bike down the inside. He does a really good job all the way through this race of getting that bike stopped despite breaking so late into corners. But you can see now for Tapia, he's going to try and attack on our race leader, David Alonso. Alonso's been able to mark the cards of everyone in this race so far, but with 2 laps to go, this is when it really does start to come down to crunch time. This is when you really do start to see the pressure really rise for all these riders. You can see the 54 there, Fernandez, just trying to buzz around in 5th position there, trying to make sure he's putting an attack on the number 69 of our pole sitter, Marcus Ruda. But into the final 2 laps of the race, David Alonso, you can see there, he's been told there's a group of 6. I think he's going to be well aware that it's a big group at the front here in the European Talent Cup, but he's able to keep himself at the front of this group with 2 laps remaining. The number 80, our championship leader, is in position to be able to win this championship. But look out for Tapia on the run down in towards turn 2. Not quite close enough this time for Tapia. Maybe for Marcus on that number 13. He's going to just try and make sure he's able to hold off until that final lap. Zonta van der Gerberg, he's 2nd in the world in this championship, the European Talent Cup, but he's 3rd in this race. Needs to win really to have a chance going into the final race of the year tomorrow. We saw Van der Gerberg hit the front already, but he really needs to try and make sure he's in the right position on the last lap.
It's what we were saying on the grid. It's about yeah, Van der Gerberg can win this race and Alonso takes 2nd, and it will go to tomorrow, but it's about backing out those places in between. Can Fernandez, can Tapia, can Ruda, can Carpe? He's been in 6th for this entire race, really. Can they get in between Van der Gerberg and Alonso. Tapia's doing a job at the moment. He's in the lead.
Yeah, Zonta runs wide on the run down in towards that kink on the back straight. He's able to somehow hook it up around the outside. Zonta on the 84, still able to keep himself in third position despite running very wide there. But Tapia out in front on the number 13 machine. And certainly he's been the rider that's been willing to make the moves all the way through this 17-lap race. But with only a lap left, is he going to be able to hold off these riders behind? We know that David Alonso is going to be thinking about the championship, but the only way for him to really race freely is just to make sure that he's able to win this race and wrap up that championship as quickly as possible. That's what the number 80 is going to be thinking. You can see the 84 of Zonta van der Gerber trying to just get himself around the outside. They're a little bit boxed in for Zonta, but he's going to have that slipstream in the run down in towards turn 1. Look at it. David Alonso on the 80 uses the slipstream to take the race lead as we head into turn 1 for the final time. But look at Zonta van der Gerber on the 84 running around the outside, gets cut across the front of by the 80 of David Alonso, our two championship contenders, first and second. As it stands right now, Alonso is in a position to win this championship, goes defensive on the run into turn 2. Zonta's not able to get close enough to try and attack, but Tapia on the 13 gets down the inside, and that could be crucial. He's able to block off Van der Gerber. Van der Gerber drops down to 4th spot.
This is where the gloves come off for everyone. Everyone in this leading group of 6. Tapia's up the inside of Fernandez there at turn 4. Nice move. Doesn't cost them both too much time either. And Tapia has got such corner speed on the entrance to the corner, on the exit, and in the corner itself. He's very, very fast all the way around. That bike is turning so well. And now, as we come through, we've got turn 7, turn 8. It's one line really from there. We've seen moves at turn 11, but Alonso is in the place he needs to be, or is he? Because Tapia's through on the inside. It's neat and tidy at the moment, but Alonso now has got a rider ahead of him and a whole host of riders behind him. We're in the final sector, Steve.
Yeah, Alonso on the number 80, our championship leader, the man that can wrap up the championship today. Van der Gerber gets down the inside into the right-hander. The number 84 needs to win this race. You can see Tapia there with a big slide. That's going to open the door for Alonso. You can see Fernandez there on the 54, not quite close enough to attack Zonta van der Gerber. But Van der Gerber is going to need the last sector of his life to be able to really close this up. The long left-hander of turn 13 and then into the final corner. And you can see for Van der Gerber, he's trying to run around the outside. He wants to be able to use that slipstream on the run to the line. He's able to get through on Alonso. They make contact. That's going to be the championship one though for David Alonso. He is going to be the 2020 European Talent Cup race winner here in Valencia, and also the title winner as well. Alonso times that to perfection. We saw the contact though between the two title contenders on the run to the line, Pico, but for David Alonso, he's able to wrap up this championship.
What a final lap. That was close. We saw elbows out, elbows flying everywhere, but despite Van der Gerber's form, well, Alonso, he started the season with 4 race wins. He has now taken the championship. The Spanish-born Colombian, born in Madrid, takes Colombian nationality, and the South American has taken it. Aspar, very, very pleased there. Ivan Goy, Nico Tyrrell, everyone's in there. Everyone's very happy. And another champion crowned under the Aspar banner. And do you know what, Steve? Over the course of the year, he's come into here with a 28-point lead. He's deserved it.
Yeah, for the number 80, David Alonso, he's been able to win this European Talent Cup. He's been able to do a really good job all the way through the season. Won the opening 4 races of the year, and now he's able to clinch the championship with a race victory here in Valencia as well. And into that final lap, he really had to earn it as well. We saw the run into that final corner. Zonta van der Gerber tried to run around the outside. Van der Gerber basically needed to win this race to have a chance of winning the European Talent Cup. And he tried his best, but Alonso was able to do exactly what he had to do, keep a cool head, and then on the run to the line, able to use the slipstream as well to beat Marco Tapia to the line by only 21 thousandths of a second. And you can see there for David Alonso, confirmation that he is the 2020 European Talent Cup champion. And it really has been a stellar season for Alonso. We saw him win the opening 4 races of the year. He's been second as well in the Red Bull Rookies Cup Championship standings right now as well. He's only behind Pedro Acosta in that. And certainly for the number 80 Alonso, this has been such a strong campaign. Let's see what his season's been like. Story of the season there for David Alonso as he goes on to wrap up the 2020 European Talent Cup, and certainly able to win it in style as well. That's his 5th race victory of the season, and the difference between him and Zonta van der Gerberg really was those early season rounds for van der Gerberg. Didn't quite find the form that he needed in the opening couple of rounds of the year in Estoril and Portimao, but since then van der Gerberg's been able to win 4 races in a row, but hasn't been quite close enough to be able to take the fight to David Alonso into that last race of the year tomorrow. Alonso, a very deserving European Talent Cup champion, and he joins already an illustrious list of Manuel Gonzalez, a Supersport World Champion, Xavi Artigas has been a Moto3 World Championship podium finisher, and also we've had Izan Guevara, last year's European Talent Cup champion. He could well be a junior world champion by this weekend as well. And now finally David Alonso has been able to get across the line and take the European Talent Cup, and certainly he's been able to put his mark on the season this year. It's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do next season as well, as he'll likely step up to the Moto3 Junior World Championship. This race, though, it was all about being able to keep a cool head. He was able to come from the 5th row of the grid after a qualifying penalty for riding slowly through too many sectors. He was given a 12th place grid penalty for that for this race, and he dropped from the front row of the grid to the 5th row, and he was still able to find a way to come through the field. Really was very impressive from David Alonso, and for that Aspar team, they've got reason to celebrate. They could well have more reasons to celebrate this weekend as well, because their rider Izan Guevara in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, he's got a real chance of trying to win that championship as well this weekend. This was the last lap. This was the last corner. Look at the 80 of Alonso. He gets down the inside of Zonta van der Gerberg. There's a little bit of argy-bargy on the run through the left-hander. Van der Gerberg gets himself boxed out. But look at Alonso on the run to the line, able to use that slipstream from Marco Tapia to take the race victory by 21 thousandths of a second. He didn't need to win this race to win the championship, but he's been able to win this championship in style on that run to the line. Really impressive stuff from Alonso all the way through this race, all the way through this season as well, to be able to keep that cool head and come to the fore. And you can see exactly what it means for Alonso to have that done. He's going to be able to race freely tomorrow as well. He's going to be able to just focus on getting the best result possible in tomorrow's race, in the season closing European Talent Cup race. And you can see they're able to celebrate with his team, and you can see there the whole Aspar team out to show their appreciation for their latest champion. And certainly for David Alonso, you're not going to be too surprised if you see him having a pretty big future as well. Already mentioned some of the previous European Talent Cup champions and the impact that they've been able to make. And certainly David Alonso is going to feel that he's got a good chance to be able to continue that sort of form for the likes of Gonzalez, Artigas and Izan Guevara. And certainly the European Talent Cup has done a good job in recent years of being able to find that talent, being able to show these riders exactly what they have to do to put themselves on the path to future success. And we've seen it in different Talent Cups as well over the years, whether it's the British Talent Cup, the Asia Talent Cup, or here in the European Talent Cup, that the success really does come from the hard work that they're able to put in, and also the work of the people around them as well. But certainly David Alonso able to take his 5th race victory of the season, and Kiko is going to be down in Parc Ferme as well with him, so we'll get the opportunity to hear from the 2020 European Talent Cup champion in just a couple of moments' time. Here is David Alonso.
David Alonso, what a performance. Great race. You took the title and the race win. How do you feel?
So happy because we win the championship in the first position. That's what I want. And, well, incredible race. Because of the penalty, I was in 5th position in the grid. Then I could overtake people in the race. Difficult race because it was so fast. The riders were so fast. But in the last lap, we could do good. Be fair, second, more or less. And then the last corner so crazy, but finally we are here. We win the championship. Incredible year. 5 victories, 4 seconds. All incredible, thanks to the team. They do excellent work in all the year. The bike was so good in the race. Also, I want to say hello to all that see me home, my friends, my family, and So happy, so happy. Thanks to all.
And again in Spanish.
Bueno, muy contento porque hemos ganado el campeonato y hemos quedado primeros en la carrera, que es lo que yo quería. Además ha sido una carrera muy bonita, pero también difícil porque la gente iba muy rápido. Salía desde el 15 debido a una sanción y bueno, he podido llegar y luego en las últimas vueltas estar más o menos primero o segundo todo el rato y luego la última curva que ha sido una locura, pero al final por décimas hemos podido ganar y bueno, súper contentos, dar las gracias a todo el equipo por el trabajo que ha hecho en todo este año, que ha sido magnífico. De momento 5 victorias y 4 segundos y bueno, también un saludo a mi familia y a mis amigos que me ven desde casa. Ahora a divertirnos en la siguiente carrera.
David, enjoy the moment. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of people there for David Alonso to give thanks to as well for the season that he's been able to have. But what about the story of his race as well? He started from 15th on the grid and was able to come through to take this race victory. Our pole sitter was Marcus Ruda. He was able to take the whole shot and lead the early laps, but it really was a case of seeing exactly when this man, David Alonso, was going to be able to make his progress through the field. Took him until a couple of laps in to be able to hit the front, but once he hit the front, he looked very comfortable to be able to stay out in front. But unfortunately, there were some other riders not quite as comfortable out there. That was the crash in the early stage of the race for Molina. This was then Harrison Voigt as well. We saw the crashes for the likes of Sacco, but also crucially for our race leaders as well. On the run out of the hairpin, we saw Roberto Garcia have a big crash, and that really did split the leading group. This was Garcia crashing out with Ivan Ortola, and from that point on it was a 6-rider group at the front of the field, with Marco Tapia able to stay out in front in those early stages, but it was a case of changing places, trading paint all the way through this race as well as riders started to make their progress. Using the slipstream for David Alonso was crucial for him to be able to hit the front. He was able to do that on the number 80 and just pick off riders in the run down in towards turn 1. But action all the way in the European Talent Cup and all the way through the field as well. As you can see on some of the runs into that last corner, really was getting too close for comfort for some of these riders in the lead group, but all 6 able to have a perfect clean race. And you could see on the run into the final lap, it wasn't quite so perfect for Marco Tapia. Bit of a bobble, that's what opened the door for Alonso to hit the front, but Tapia did attack back. But into the final corner, it was an attack from Alonso to be able to hold off Zonta van der Gerberg for the European Talent Cup Championship in 2020. And for David Alonso, he was able to take this win by 21 thousandths of a second from Marco Tapia. Really complete performance, really complete season from David Alonso, and really strong performance once again here this weekend from the Aspar rider. And he is the 2020 European Talent Cup champion. And Kiko, you're back from Parc Ferme, and certainly he was delighted to have been able to get across the line and be able to take this championship.
Breathless action, as you can probably tell. I've just run up from Parc Ferme. David so happy to take it with a win. David Alonso takes the title with victory ahead of Marco Tapia and Alberto Fernandez. Marcos Ruda so unlucky to miss out on that podium. Zonta van der Gerberg only 5th in the end, and Alvaro Carpe, look at that top 6, less than 2 tenths between them. Jacob John Rulston, Adrian Cruces and Colin Viher in 9th. And 10th, completing the top 10, Angel Piqueras. But lots and lots of action all the way down the field. The top 13 covered by 8.4 seconds. Just shows how unpredictable it is, Steve.
Yeah, the European Talent Cup once again delivering this weekend. And certainly David Alonso able to deliver at the front of the field to be able to take that race victory. Really complete performance by him coming from the 5th row of the grid. The good news for David Alonso is it's going to be a lot easier tomorrow. He's going to come from his front row of the grid spot. But certainly for Alonso, he's not going to have minded that he had to come through from the 5th row of the grid. Really strong performance to be able to take this race victory, take the championship, and we're going to get the chance to see him up there on the podium in just a couple of moments' time. But certainly, Kiko, what we saw from Alonso, really cool head all the way through.
It reasserts and reconfirms that his class this year is just a little bit above the rest, and that's no disrespect to anyone else. He has just been the class of the field and the rider with a target on his back.
You can see here Alberto Fernandez able to finish on the podium once again, and for Fernandez, he started the season with 3 podiums in a row, and he's going to finish it with at least one at the final round of the year here in Valencia. But really it is all about this man, David Alonso, able to take the race victory and also to take the European Talent Cup Championship for 2020. A really complete season for him. He won the opening 4 races of the year, and he's been able to get across the line here from 15th on the grid. Really complete stuff from him to be able to do that. His Aspar team, they get the Teams Cup as well for winning this race, the Teams Trophy. But for our podium men, Alberto Fernandez, another podium, Kiko. After such a strong start to the year, he's finishing the year strong too.
He really is, and he's hopefully going to take this form into next year. We said at the start of this year that hopefully he'll be one to look out for. It hasn't gone that way, but I tell you something, Steve, he really has taken 3rd in the championship now with quite a sizable margin. The gap now will be 15 points in his favour over Izan Guevara.
And you can see there David Alonso able to celebrate with our race victory and our winner's trophy, and he also gets pretty large novelty jack as well. But Marco Tapia able to pick up his as well. Tapia was able to have very combative race, able to get to the front of the field, and very aggressive riding for that as well. Looking forward to seeing what Marco is able to do tomorrow. But let's hear the Spanish national anthem for our race winner David Alonso. Of course, apologies there for David Alonso racing under the Colombian flag in the European Talent Cup for the Madrid-born Colombian. But certainly, if that's the only thing that goes wrong for him today is me getting that wrong, he's been able to have a really strong weekend. And for Alonso, he's been able to cap off what's been such a strong season, Kiko, and the latest European Talent Cup champion. We've been able to see what past riders in this class have been able to do, and he looks like he's got a very bright future. Very bright future, and a long bright future. You know, the way he's gone about his business this year, it's been in convincing fashion. One error we saw in Aragon, but that moment did not really impact too much on this moment here, because he is the title winner. He is the champion of the HETC. And Alonso able to get that championship wrapped up. You can see able to celebrate on the podium as well. But for all 3 of these riders, they've got plenty to look forward to tomorrow as well, and we've got plenty to look forward to as well over the course of this weekend. Obviously, we've got another European Talent Cup race tomorrow, where all these front runners are going to be able just to focus on trying to make sure they're able to win the race rather than have to think in terms of the championship honours. And for David Alonso, it's going to be interesting to see just how differently he approaches tomorrow's race now that he is the European Talent Cup champion. The focus tomorrow is going to shift on to who's able to finish 3rd in the championship as well. You can see a 15-point gap between Izan Guevara and also Alberto Fernandez in 3rd position. But Guevara had the pace during this race to be able to hit the front, and he's certainly going to have to make sure he's able to do the same tomorrow. But keep an eye out for Izan Guevara in tomorrow's race. Ruda and Tapia as well, looking at knocking on the door of Angel Piqueras for that 5th. But the top 2 in the championship, Alonso and Van der Gorberg, they're locked in. They cannot be touched. They will be 1st and 2nd, whatever happens at the end of tomorrow. Plenty more action over this weekend, including the European Moto2 Championship just about to come up as well here in Valencia. And for the European Talent Cup riders, they can now focus on getting ready for tomorrow's race. So until the Moto2 race starts, myself, Steve English from Kiko Giles, it's a goodbye from Valencia.